Andre 3000 is releasing a new album this Friday called New Blue Sun. Why it may not be what you'd like. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. Mr. Foxy I Refuse podcast. I made it to the weekend, trying to mind my African American business. Yeah, here y'all are. Y'all couldn't just let me be. So, we have a new episode out on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, that side of the I Refuse podcast, where I recap my Friendsgiving that happened on Saturday. Chaotic, and I wasn't even the messiest one. But I will say that Harry Potter, he had a time that night. Harry Potter had a time that night. So, anyway, welcome back. This is Tuesday. Can't believe Thanksgiving is next week, but here we are. Andre 3000, in our first wild card of this episode, Andre 3000, one half of the iconic duo, hip hop duo, Outkast, known for like popping up and doing little features here and there, essentially like stealing the moment from whoever's song it is, pops up and decides he wants to tell us that he is releasing an album, first in 17 years, because Idlewild was the last album that he did as part of Outkast. I got really excited because I'm like, look, are you going to be giving me what you was giving me on Lil Wayne's album a little over 10 years ago? Are you going to be giving us that? Are you going to give us, things that keep you in the top 5, dead or alive, or my top 5? I was like, oh, okay. Those of us that have been outside since 1994, this is our time. This I've been saying for years on the I Refuse podcast. We need Andre 3000 to release an album to rescue hip hop, bring back what, hip hop is all about. I said this morning when I saw the news that anybody that's into Lil this and Lil that and ASAP this and ASAP that and fuckboy this and fuckboy that are going to hate Andre 3000's new album. Just based off of that, right? But then I take a closer look. Andre Benjamin, brother, I love you now. I really do. Like, you're in my top 5 for a lot of reasons. You're just different. And you rap in color. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but you rap in color. Like, I see, like, shit every time you rap. But Andre Benjamin, the king of the Love Below, can you please just come to the front? We just have a couple questions. Like, we didn't think you were that serious with this flute thing. Like, we saw little happenstance incidences where people would cross paths with you in Japan, Eastern China, sometimes in Atlanta, where you're from, looking like the Running Man from Baltimore, playing a flute. I'm like, okay. He's on his Nutri-Grain, Nature Valley era. Good for you. Wasn't really too tense and too pressed about it then, right? I thought, okay. He's just minding his business. But Andre Benjamin, Mr. Benjamin, you're really going to pop back up in the hemisphere of pop music with an album based on not only the flute, but like flute playing, wind instruments. You won't be rapping, you won't be singing. Now, Mr. Fox, myself personally, I've evolved my musical taste, right? Like I'm listening to the alt pop, I'm listening to the electronica stuff. I've been listening to some lo-fi stuff, some stuff that kind of brings me back to like the 80s. You know what I mean? But listening to there's a group called Nightwind, Nitewind. As soon as I put that on, it just takes me back to the 80s. No lyrics, no rapping, just instruments or whatever. Andre 3000 is not known to be in that category, ever. Like I said, when I saw, the last time I saw him with a little flute, little wind instrument, down by the Atlanta BP, I wasn't tripping. I'm like, hey, he's just taking a break. He's probably sitting real comfortably on a piece of change, having worked tirelessly since the age of 17, 18 years old, up until he was like in his late 30s. Cool. But who asked for an album of flute music? Like we already got like flutists and like orchestras and shit like that. Like we already got like the Irish music. What Andre Benjamin, brother from Georgia, I think Peachtree, it's just fucking me up right now. To the point that I couldn't believe it when a guy that used to be my boss years ago before the pandemic, hip hop head from the golden era. Yeah, he's from the South, but he's into it. When he first told me about what NPR was saying, I was just like, oh. Like I was hoping we could get a continuation of Where Are My Panties? We get a continuation of Prototype. We get some kind of continuation or, an involvement of Andre 3000 from, Speaker Box, from Aquemini. Because the great thing that made Outkast special is that Big Boy was more the confrontational one. And Andre 3000 was more like, come in and be my neighbor, but also let me pound the sentiment out of you later on. Like, you got both sides, right? Worked well. Tribe Called Quest was kind of similar to where Q-Tip, they were both like, Q-Tip was the party charming guy, right? And Fife was like the mind game dude. Yeah, I'm short, but don't fuck with me. It parallels. But anyway, flute music? What's going on? I don't know. Just as quick as this announcement came out, the rollout will probably be something that'll, it's meant to shock us at first. And then we'll get into the meat and the potatoes. I surely hope the flute is not the main instrument. Like, not for nothing, you could actually make some pretty good rap music out of anything. You know what I mean? Like if I'm thinking like 3 Stacks or my idea of 3 Stacks, he could probably start off with the flute and then the hi-hat comes on and the violins and shit like that. I'm just thinking. Because there's nothing that says that You can't do hip hop to flute music. I don't know. I don't know. I just hope it's not all instrumental, because 3 Stacks should stick to 3 Stacks. You know, we already got Kenny G out here doing shit every year with the flute and stuff. And we don't really, I don't know. Hopefully there's more to it than that. I'm not holding my breath. I'll take a listen to it. But just like we typically do in streaming world, it's like you'll listen to it, go on to something else. You're trying to process what the hell you just listened to. You may or may not come back for later listens. But who's to say? Like, yeah, it's because it's 3,000. We'll come out. We'll listen to it. A lot of us will probably walk away confused as a bitch. It may very well be good background music. We'll see. So that's our first wild card, right? The second wild card is Tamar Braxton is currently on her 10th anniversary tour for her Love and War album. And one of her background singers is James Chanel, or AKA the Patti Pie dude. Everybody should know who that is at this point. He was on Tamar and Vince the last couple of seasons, when it went from Tamar hanging out with LaShawn and April, his wife, rest in peace to LaShawn Daniels, to hanging out with these cats, just all either gay and bi dudes or all feminine guys. Do what you do. So, at the same show, allegedly, Chrisean Rock was, I guess, on the bill or part of the show or something. They say Chrisean Rock allegedly assaulted James Chanel. Swung on him, chipped a tooth. He's bleeding and stuff. And they're saying that Tamar's camp was putting that story out for clout. The other side of that is that Tamar's and James Chanel's best friend is saying Chrisean Rock came to the venue or tried to get on stage drunk and high and all kinds of messed up with a bunch of people and caused a fit because she was being told that she couldn't perform. Now, I don't know the particulars of the show. Is Chrisean Rock the opener? Because I know she was, I know she raps, and I only know this recently, like within this month, that Chrisean Rock raps. Because she was on tour with Sexy Red, and she was performing some of her songs. Couldn't honestly tell you or recite a bar. All I knew her to be was probably a little on the yellow light side and a little out there. And I kind of feel sorry for her. So I know I saw a clip on IG where she was on stage with Tamar while Tamar was singing. But I don't know if she was actually part of the tour as an opening act or whatever. It would have been odd as fuck. But my thing is this. When you are assaulted, when you are assaulted, not by just anybody, but by a celebrity, the first thing you do is not to run to social media. You run to the police. Here's what happened. James Chanel, so the best friend deleted the post that was essentially calling Chrisean Rock trash. Recently, though, James Chanel went to social media, most likely an IG Live of some kind, from the dentist chair. Of course, the camera is facing upwards, and he's talking from behind. While he's in the chair getting either on his way to getting his chip tooth replaced or fixed or whatever. You swing on me and it lands, I'm calling the police. Now, I don't know the particulars as to if there was a extensive back and forth. Because, at first I was like, what does James Chanel have to do with it? Like, he's the background singer. He's not security. He's not a bodyguard. He's not a male nurse. He's a background singer, not a football player. He's a background singer. I thought he did hair. But, it is what it is. I don't know if she said something to him. He said something sassy back. In response, her back went up like a cat when they attack. She must have went into like Def Jam rage mode and swung on old boy. And that was that. Run to the police, file a lawsuit, and go to not Maui, because I think that's still burning, but go to a nice little Airbnb over in Europe somewhere, relax, take a breather, reevaluate your friend circle and whatever. I don't know, because I would low-key be kind of embarrassed to go on social media after an incident and in a way confirm what's been alleged. As large as you are, and that's not even a body shaming dick, he is a taller person. He's taller than Chrisean Rock, and I think he's taller than Tamar Braxton. You gotta be able to, like, defend yourself. Like, you could push somebody out of the way. Like, you can duck and do this. Like, oh, it's just crazy, man. Like, why are y'all letting people in drunk and high on an R&B tour? Like, R&B is on shaky ground. I mean, granted, 2023 was a pretty decent year for R&B. But there's only so much of Clear Life that a person can listen to. Before we're like, okay, we can do the pain and the vulnerability and everything, but all the ratchet shit that's happening like this down at the shows is taken away from the beauty, and it ruins the whole vibe. And it's like a lot of us go up for Love and War. I still play it to this day. Yet and still, you got Chrisean Rock cutting up on tour dates, which essentially makes her a liability at this point. I just don't get it. That's wild card number 2. Wild card number 3. This is probably the biggest wild card I have in my deck. A very prominent, famous black actor. We're going to play charades. Very prominent, famous, worlds over black actor who's they're legally married still, whose current wife, although they live separately, is on her book tour. He has been living his life, doing whatever. His former personal assistant and best friend is making the rounds. First clip is off of Tasha K's lemonade stand and show, giving some tea. Giving some tea about this actor and former rap star. That this former personal assistant and best friend walked in on this famous, international famous black actor doing the bending over a couch and getting his back door murdered by another actor. Not a household name. You've seen this actor in a couple of movies. Was on a UPN show back in the day with Lisa Ray, who doesn't fuck with this actor no more. This actor was married for a long time to a famous black actress. She's a household name. Like, who doesn't know who that is? So, those of us that have been outside have heard the rumors before. Like, and these are rumors that have persisted. That these two are really close. And with this tea coming from the former personal assistant and best friend, it gives a whole new meaning to the term tight. So, here's the thing, right? Like, those of us that are at a grown age aren't spinning the block and aren't spinning our heads off of our necks at this kind of tea. Because we've long ago accepted the reality that when people reach a tax bracket that is very much unlike our own, the super exciting shit that y'all think y'all are doing in y'all bedrooms on 40-hour work week salaries is just another day of the week to these people. Like, they live a lifestyle or move in a way that says rich and bored. They've tried everything with a female. Although some females will not let you go anywhere near that second area back there. But it's like, you have the accessibility. You could have anybody you want, right? And trust and believe that because I can is quite an aphrodisiac. So, those of us that have been outside and have had these 3 people, 4 people on our TV screens, movie screens for most of our lives, the tea is old. The tea is tepid. Like, we've heard this, heard the rumors for so long. This isn't shocking. It's very messy, very, very messy, and the timing is very on brand. Like, this actor and former hip hop star is catching a lot of strays, having a lot of personal information, truths come out, courtesy of the wife that he is not with physically, but legally they're still married. Now that things have kind of died down from, the news cycle has kind of expired on the estranged wife and this memoir that she's pushing that probably not anybody really bought because it was overshadowed by Britney Spears, rightfully so. You have this former best friend, former personal assistant, confirming some tepid tea. Like, if you really want to spill some tea, we want to know, how long were you a personal assistant and best friend to this person? Was it pre the current marriage that is not 100% together? Was it during the TV show era? Was it since before the first marriage? Because if it's the latter, right, you probably could confirm some other tea that we at the I Refuse podcast have heard. Tea that allegedly served for the impetus for the first wife divorcing this former hip hop star, former television star, major movie star. Like, you can go to the Philippines and know who this person is. Tea that involves that person and their manager at the time. Allegedly, the first wife walks in, catches husband at the time, allegedly giving sloppy toppy to his manager at the time. Now, this person has managed other high-profile folks, has a long-standing career as an executive, so on and so forth, has brokered some major deals. Can you confirm that? Like, what about your friends? So, this is what I woke up to today. I was close. Almost made it to Wednesday in the middle of the week. This kind of shit will make me want to drink. Not even gonna lie. Like, it's crazy because this particular person has been non-problematic. And for the longest time, Mr. Hollywood, to some level, is, when it comes to success and worth and value and earnings, I would say on the same level as Tom Cruise. He doesn't bother anybody. I know that he wants to continue to spoon feed us this image of family and shit like that. But I also know that, like, spilling this kind of tea with names on a lemonade stand known as that podcast over there that I just told y'all about, one of the people you named and you fingered, like you're dropping names is like protected, like by street dudes that will show up, rough you up, and then peel off. Like it's just not wise. You really, it's it's not lost on me that a lot of high powered folks, particularly men who are from the streets, have managed to become a chameleon and operate and rub shoulders with with other high powered folks with long money, like across continents, like trust fund folks, um, people with oil money, investors and shit like that, are still not protected. Like they make enough money and are worth a lot of money that they can get somebody for a cool 7 figures to make things different for somebody else. And this actor, on top of being protected by gangsters, I've read stories from back in his rapper days, that another black person, another black guy, was accusing him of stealing a Grammy or some kind of shit. Got confronted by this rap guy. There was a scuffle of some kind. Charged the rap guy with assault, but the rap guy was protected or had the support of a well-known drug lord of some kind who sent guys over to rough this guy up, to make things different for this guy. Although that was back in the early 90s, probably the late 80s, I'm willing to bet my entire retirement that in 2023 going into 2024, as desperate as people are, they can do way worse for a lot less. For a 2-piece and a biscuit, they can make things different. So messy, and I wouldn't be surprised if by Christmas you hear some shit is different for this former personal assistant and former best friend. And it's like, why at this point? Why? Like, a lot of snitching is happening, and not so much from the females. I mean, it's whack regardless of sex, because it's like you benefited from that somehow. Whether it's a female with a male celebrity and they had an ongoing thing, why mess up your bag by snitching or ratting out a celebrity that's married that you've been sleeping with for so long? And then you have guys, you have this guy, you have the Gene Griffey guy that had been continuously dry snitching on Diddy. Apparently he can't snitch anymore because he's been charged with Tupac's murder. But the season of men snitching for a come up, this new school shit is not for me. So that's where we are right now. When's the media coming? When is it coming? Before I get out of here, I have this to say. To anybody that is requesting or requiring that we give 3 Stacks the same smoke that we give Lauryn Hill, it must be the lead, because two totally different conversations. First of all, y'all will say anything just for engagement on that Little Bird app, and you show your hand every time. Outkast hasn't done an album together since the early 2000s. Andre 3000 doesn't need to record. Andre 3000 is not tied to, was really never tied to any obligation by LaFace or whoever to record. And on the strength of Outkast alone, Andre 3000 doesn't owe us anything. Like, if Outkast was to do a reunion tour, 25th anniversary reunion tour for an album or whatever, every show would be sold out. And Andre 3000 would be at every show. On time, a little late. He'll be on at every date. And Andre 3000 being part of Outkast, they have a catalog, not just one album. They have at least 4 albums. And they have a lot of like connections within the Dungeon family, Goody Mob, Sleepy Brown, Organized Noise. Like, apples and oranges. Also, unlike Al Boogie, 3 Stacks and Big Boy did not behind the scenes do any shady shit where it's like they hired people to write stuff and then they took the credit for it in the jacket of the album. Songwriters, producers, real lyricists for about 15 years. Apples and oranges, apples and oranges. So, again, it must be the lead at this point, because y'all are just saying any kind of off-the-wall shit for engagement, and you're getting clocked every time. And with that, this has been Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Be sure to check us out everywhere you get your music and your podcasts. Got the YouTube channel, of course. We're not hard to find. There's 5 seasons of the I Refuse podcast. The link is in the social media at I Refuse Podcast. That's on Twitter. And on Instagram, it's at I Refuse Podcast _ between the words. Link will also be in the link is also in the YouTube bio. And the link will also be in this video. Have a good Thanksgiving and a great November. Stay warm. It's cold as a bitch out here. It's so disrespectful. And keep it locked. Like, I swear to God, I'm just over here minding my African-American business. And y'all just keep me looped in on the madness. So, we'll catch you guys later. Peace. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse.